So back when I was a single guy and I lived in my house alone, one night I was getting ready for bed and I was just about to get in bed. And as I was walking across my room, I looked down and on the ground, about this big around, was a spider. Like this, okay? And it was a pretty big spider. And so, of course, I'm going to kill it, right? And right before I can kill it, it runs under my bed, under the bed. And so I'm like, oh, man. And so I'm trying to, like, lift up because it has, like, one of those bed skirt things. I don't know. Anyways, trying to look under there, trying to find it. And I have a bunch of junk under my bed because when I clean, sometimes I just stuff stuff. Do y'all do that? Just stuff under? Okay. And so there's a bunch under there. And so I can't find this spider. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just go to bed. It's really late. And so I get into bed, and I'm laying there trying to go to sleep. Except I keep feeling things like fake feelings of bugs. Have you ever had this happen? Like you think you feel a bug and there's nothing there? Like sometimes I have my cell phone in my pocket and I think it vibrates, but it didn't, okay? In fact, sometimes I've had my cell phone vibrate in my pocket and then I reached and it wasn't in my pocket. I was like, what just vibrated? Nothing. I guess I just fake vibrations in my... Anyways, I think my phone's going off, but it's not. And so I kept thinking, in fact, try it tonight. Just think about spiders while laying in bed. You will feel stuff on you. It's just creepy. It does to me. So I'm trying to sleep. And then I started thinking about this thing I read online one time that your average person swallows or eats 8 spiders in their lifetime while they're sleeping. Like that they're laying there because, you're like, I sleep with my mouth open because I'm like, you're rolling all that. And so like the spider's like, ooh, it's warm. Oh, and you're like, oh, and you eat it. And so I'm thinking about that, which, by the way, I looked it up last night. It's not true. Someone just made that up. Thank goodness. Okay? And you don't actually eat spiders in your sleep. But still, I'm picturing it like going in my nose and all this stuff. And so I'm trying to sleep, and I absolutely cannot. So finally, it's really late. I get up. I take all the sheets off my bed. I throw them in the other room. I take the mattress, like throw it over. I get the box spring. I take it off. And I got a queen-size bed. I'm like throwing this stuff out. And now there's nothing in all the junk. And I start going through the junk until I find that spider. And then I killed him with passion. I mean, it was in pieces when I was done with that spider. I completely destroyed it with passion because it deserved it. And you know what? We're going to talk about something tonight that you need to kill with passion, okay? Because it's something that if you allow to stay in your life, it will hurt you a lot. And some of you have experienced pain from this already. And that what we're going to talk about is kind of along with our emoticon thing, and that's anger. Y'all ever use this with people when you're talking? I only use this like as a joke whenever I'm texting. I don't know. Maybe you are actually mad at people a lot. But whenever I'm texting, I use this sometimes as a joke with somebody to pretend like I'm mad. But maybe you use one of the mad ones or the one we discovered like the smoke or steam or whatever. Okay, I don't know which one you use. But the allergy one, right, we talked about last week. But so anger is one of those things that if you allow to keep around, it'll hurt you a lot. But I wouldn't have a problem with being angry if people weren't so stupid. Would you agree with me on that? Like, if there weren't so many stupid people around you, you wouldn't be angry, right? You're like, yeah, I got my stupid sister, right? Or my brat brother, my, terrible teacher, or pesky parents, or however you want to go with all that. So you got these people around you that are really bothering you, and they make you angry, and you just can't really stand it. And then sometimes even stuff makes you angry. I looked at one, I forget who it was. It was a girl. Her phone was broken. It was here at Amplify. And I was like, what happened to your phone? And she was like, I got mad at it, and she threw it and cracked the screen. So I was like, well, that didn't work, did it? It's like, no. So like my cousin used to be playing Xbox or PlayStation, and he would get so mad at the games, he would just chunk his controller. Did any of y'all maybe do that? His controllers were always broken and had to buy new ones because he was breaking them all the time. Because he gets so mad at a thing. I got really mad the other day at a dog. Because in the middle of the night, and I got, I'm kind of weird, so I got up and I recorded it. In the middle of the night, this is 12:30, I'm trying to go to sleep, and my next door neighbor, I don't know if y'all can hear this. So I'm sitting there, and I'd be laying there, and I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to go to sleep. And then it would just, wait, and then it would go again. And this went on from 10:30 till 2:30. For 4 hours, I laid in bed. And every time it would bark, I would get more mad, okay? And every single time I would get more mad. And so, and like it started out, I started having these thoughts, okay? And I'm one of these people that have the thoughts of what I'm going to do, okay? At first, I was like, maybe I could just put some Benadryl and some cheese, okay? And just throw it over there, and like 30 minutes talking about, I'm tired, okay? And just pass out. Or, then I started, okay, I could just open their gate. If I open their gate, the dog will just run off, and I'll never have to hear it again. Okay, and then it got worse from there. I was like, well, I could shoot it with my paintball gun every time it barks, then it'll get the picture. Okay, I got to stop. I'm like, well, then they'll see the paint. I could use BBs on my BB gun, but that wouldn't work. And then I started thinking about other things I could do, and I probably thought about 8 ways to kill the dog without getting caught. And I'm just laying in bed, and I'm like so mad. And every time it barks, I get more mad, and I'm like, I'm gonna call the police. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I gotta get rid of this thing. And anyways, I guess I eventually went to sleep around 2:30 after 4 hours of listening to that. The dog's about this big, okay? I could like punt it across the yard, as a get out of my life, okay? It's a terrible little dog. And it just made me so mad. Stuff, animals can make you mad, but what makes you more mad than anything is people. In fact, probably your family makes you the most mad. A lot of you, like your sister or your brother can make you mad by breathing wrong, It's like, your breath just ticks me off right now. Just get out of here, okay? And they can really make you mad. Sometimes you annoy your family on purpose and you're making them mad, but we make each other mad and people make you mad. Sometimes people make you mad on purpose. They make you angry on purpose. They do things to hurt you on purpose. Sometimes they do it by accident. But whatever it is, we get angry with people. And we all kind of maybe know that staying angry is not a good thing because you've probably experienced some of the problems with anger. But there's 3 ways to deal with anger. 2 are bad. There's 2 ways that you'll be one of these 2, okay? The way you naturally do it wrong, okay? And I'm one of these. I'll tell you which one's me in just a minute. But there's the spewer, okay? The spewer, okay. Now do y'all know what spewing is? Okay, let me explain. I used to annoy my sister on purpose. I don't know if you ever did this, to try to make her mad and then her get in trouble for being mad. Okay, anyway, so like one thing, I did this one time. I would just, because I was a little kid, it was really easy to annoy her. So I'd walk around and I would just do this. And it just drove her nuts. All I had to do was puff out my cheeks. Can you imagine? So I would just look at her and go. And so then she started doing this. She'd go. And she'd do this like all the time. Like so whenever I do that. And so then I got this idea. So I did a couple times, and she would go. And so then I went into the kitchen. And I got a glass of water, and I went. And I walked right up to her and looked at her right in the face. I was like, and she goes. And water just went all over. And this made me very happy. I was laughing, but it made her very angry. And then I had to run because she likes to claw me and things, or did when we were little kids. So I spewed that all over, and then her anger spewed all over me. Some of you spew your anger. You know what I'm talking about? It's just whenever you're mad, everybody knows it, okay? You just let them have it. Some of you are door slammers, okay? Okay, you slam the door. Some of you just let it all out in your words, Somebody cuts in front of you in line at school, and you're like, I don't think so. You're going to get to the back of the line or else, Okay, yeah, that's the way you are, okay? So you got your little angry thing. And I didn't say anything. All right, so some of you are kind of angry, and you just let it out with all the things that you say. Or maybe it's what you do, I don't know. But when you're angry, you spew it out. And then there's some of you that are not the spewer. You're what I call the stewer, okay? You stew in your anger. You just keep it all in. I'm not talking about like you're calm and you just let it go. I'm talking about you just take that and you hold on to it. Let me tell you something that you do if you're a stewer, okay? You have these imaginary conversations at night with the person that you're mad at, don't you? You're laying in bed and you're thinking about all the ways you're going to tell them off, okay? You're just like, and whenever I do this in my head, there's always a group of people around listening, and when I get done, they're all like, oh, burn, okay? And then the person feels so bad after I told them off that they're like, I'm really sorry for what I did, okay? Or they're crying and all that too, and I'm like, oh, I told them off good. And then it's always in my head at night, and maybe you do that. You have these secret conversations with people, and you're kind of a stewer, and you just like implode your anger and you just kind of hold on to it and all that. And it kind of comes out in different ways negatively in your life. But anger in both of these ways, whether you spew it. Now some of you, okay, who would say I'm a spewer? Who's the spewers? Anybody? Exploders? Only like 3 of you? Okay, some of you are lying. Who's a stewer? You stew, you hold on to it. Okay, some of you are both. You stew for a while and then you explode. Okay, yeah, okay. Some of you, I'm both. Some of you are both. I'm more of the stewer kind. I don't explode very often, but I stew on it for a little while. That's my natural thing. But we all know that anger can be a problem because most of you have been impacted by anger negatively. Some of you have had somebody's anger coming at you and it hurt, or you've seen anger. Some of you, anger broke up your family. Some of you, you had different experiences, and you know that anger can hurt you, and anger is a negative thing if you let it stay in your life. So we need to learn how to get rid of it, and you can beat anger. So we're gonna see how to do it. If you brought your Bibles, you can turn to Ephesians chapter 4. Okay, we're gonna be there. That's all we're gonna be at tonight is Ephesians 4, and we're gonna look at a couple verses here to talk about anger, and we're gonna beat anger. So here we go. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. He starts like this. He says, "In your anger." Now, he assumes when he's writing this that there will be times when you're angry. So you don't have to feel bad. He knows it's going to happen. You're going to be angry sometimes. Sometimes you're just going to be ticked off, okay? And then he says, "In your anger, do not sin." And that's where it starts to become a problem. Because whether you're a spewer, an exploder, or an imploder, a stewer, a lot of times anger turns into sin. Where you're angry and you say some really stupid or mean or hateful things. A lot of times the worst things we do are when we're angry. Now, if you're an exploder, you've exploded on some people, and you know it caused a lot of problems, right? You exploded on your mom, and you got extra grounded. You exploded on your friend, and y'all didn't talk for weeks, okay? You explode your anger. So it says, "In your anger, do not sin." Now, I'm going to give you exploders just a little tool to help you. If you explode when you're mad, and you make a scene, this is what you need to do. Every time you start, when your face gets hot? You know what I'm talking about? You get so mad. Okay. This is what you do. Stop talking. Okay, you got to stop talking. Whenever you are angry, do not talk. Do not do anything until your anger calms down. The best thing you can do is just find a place to be alone until you cool off. That's why they say, I think it's appropriate that it's red because that's what happens, right? You're like fiery red, okay? So wait till you cool off before you talk. Yeah, you may need to talk to the person about what happened, but don't do it while you're angry. Now, stewers sin also when they're angry, but it happens a little different. A lot of times, you just let it grow until you just hate the person, okay? And next time you see them, you're like, I hate you. Okay? And hate is a sin, right? But also, sometimes it turns into gossiping about the person and treating them bad, shunning them and all that. But also there's another side to it. A lot of times, anger, that stewing kind of anger, is the very thing that pushes somebody that had an addiction to something like pornography or drugs or alcohol, back into their addiction. They quit, and every time they get angry is when they go back into that, if they're a steward, and they hold on to it. So he says, "In your anger, do not sin." And he gives us some more advice. He says, "Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry." Now, what he's saying there is, hey, you can't keep it. Yes, you're going to get angry, but you can't stay angry. In fact, he even says, hey, by the end of the day, you need to do something about this anger, okay? So, because if you keep it, it starts to cause a problem. In fact, he tells us what happens. He says, "And do not give the devil a foothold." You know what a foothold is? I'll tell you. Did anybody climb trees when you were a kid? I love to climb trees. Okay, yeah, I climbed lots of trees. I would climb as high as I possibly could. In fact, I'm scared of heights now. I don't know how that happened, but I would never do that now. But back then, I would climb until the branches couldn't hold me anymore. But here's the thing: not every tree I could climb. Like some trees, there weren't any low branches to grab onto. I was pretty skinny, so I could pull myself up. If I could grab it with one hand, I could get myself up, okay, onto the branch. But it was easy if there were low branches that you could put your foot on. If you get your foot on, you got a foothold, then you could push up right into the tree. It's a piece of cake. And what he's saying is when you allow anger to stay in your life, what you give the devil is a foothold, a place where he can easily come in and affect your life. And if you're honest, if you look at yourself, when you're angry and you allow anger to stay in your life, it hurts you. You do things that you wish you wouldn't have done. You hurt relationships, and it hurts your life. So he says, don't stay angry. Don't let it stay. So we want to deal with it and figure out how to deal with it. And just a couple verses later, he tells us how to deal with it. Okay, in verse 31, he says this. He says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, slander, and along with them every form of malice." Now, this would not really work if you're a counselor, right? Like somebody comes in and they've got anger, like, man, I got anger issues. I got anger. I need help. And the counselor's like, get rid of it. oh yeah, thanks, that'll help, okay? Yes, now I have no more anger. I just got rid of it, like, threw it out, okay? It's not that simple, right? You can't just, okay, I got rid of it. And the good news is he tells us in the next verse how to get rid of it. But you need to know it is very important that you get rid of the anger, okay? And then he says in the next verse how to do it. And it's not particularly fun, but it works every time, okay? He says this, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ, God forgave you. Now, you read that and you're like, be kind? I don't want to. Be compassionate? They do not deserve it. Forgive? Are you kidding me, right? But here's the thing. Forgiveness is the key to getting rid of anger. One time, my wife and I went on a vacation, a little mini vacation, and like for 3 days. We came home after the vacation, and we opened the door to our house, and it like hit me in the face. This smell that would like burn your nose hairs if you have those, okay? I mean, it was so bad. She could tell you how bad. I mean, it was awful how bad our house was. What had happened was we had thrown away some chicken in the trash can, and we forgot to take the trash out before we left, and it sat in there for 3 days and just rotted and smelled the entire house. It was really, really bad. Now, you can light candles and you can spray stuff, but it would only be temporary. The biggest problem that what you have to do, right, is take the trash out, okay? Because it doesn't matter how much you put some candles in and all that, it's going to be smelly again until you get the trash out. And here's the way, this is how anger works. Anger will stink up your life until you get it out. You have to get it out. Now, the way you move it out of your life is through forgiveness. It's the only way to get rid of anger. I mean, some things, okay, somebody cuts you off, okay, you probably don't have to worry about forgetting them. You're going to forget about it in a little bit, okay? But when it comes to real anger, when you're really angry with somebody, forgiveness is the key to getting rid of it. And I know a lot of times people say, well, they don't deserve it. I'm not going to do it, and this kind of thing. You feel like you're getting back at the person by staying mad. But here, I want you to think about this. And I'm not that creative, so let's just talk about it like this. I don't know why this one is smiling, because, anyways, I actually looked this up. In Japan, this means good luck. So that's where this emoji came from, was Japan. I don't know why poop means good luck in Japan. They're weird, I guess. So if anybody have a dog, you have a dog or a cat, okay? So if your dog or cat came into your bedroom and pooped on the floor, which probably may have happened, okay? You would not go in there and be like, oh, that dog. I'm going to teach that dog a lesson and leave that poop right there. I'm going to get back at that dog. I'm going to leave the poop. No, does the dog care if you leave the poop in your room? No. In fact, he may have a snack later, okay? So it doesn't help. So you're not punishing the dog by leaving the poop in there. Who is it punishing? You, because you go to bed that night. You got to smell it. When you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and forget it's there and you step on it and you got poop foot, you're the one that's getting punished because you left it on the floor, okay? So here's what, when you think by holding on to anger, you're punishing the other person, the only person that it's hurting is you. In fact, a lot of times they've moved on and forgotten what they did, and you are still holding on to the anger. It's only hurting you. One person said it like this: it's like drinking poison trying to hurt another person. The only person that gets sick is you, not the other person. If you hold on to anger, it hurts you and only you. And well, it does hurt others. It hurts the other people in your life. It hurts your family. It hurts your friends, but not necessarily the person that you're holding anger against. Now, here's the thing about it. Anger is an emotion. Anger is a feeling. Forgiveness is a decision. Somebody say decision. You know what it is? A decision. Forgiveness is a decision. You get to choose to do it or not. You don't have to feel forgiveness. You choose to forgive. Anger is an emotion, but forgiveness is a decision. Now, I'm going to teach you something about anger, and maybe it'll help you understand why you're mad at somebody or how to get rid of that anger. Anger says this: you owe me. When you're angry at somebody, there is a sense that they owe you something. Like they took something from you, and now you owe that person something. So, for example, you may feel like somebody owes you. We even say this: they owe me an apology. Have you heard people say that? They owe me an apology, like they owe you something. You may feel like somebody owes you, you loaned them something, they didn't give it back. They owe you some money, right? Or they owe you, sometimes it's more serious things. Your parents, one of your parents left, and you feel like they owe you a parent. Or they never came to any of your stuff, and you feel like they owe you some time, or they owe you something like that. You feel like your brother and sister owe you some peace and quiet, right? Or you feel like When I was like sixth grade, yeah, I think it was sixth grade, there was this guy, and he always would pick on me. He would like punch me. I was a little kid, okay? Like he'd punch me in the face, throw me on the ground, make fun of me in front of people, stuff like that. And sometimes I felt like I was angry at him. I felt like he owed me. Like it was hard to, I wouldn't have said he owes me, but I felt like he owed me, just being able to go to school in peace. He took that away from me. Maybe you feel like somebody owes you a best friend, or they owe you your reputation, or they owe you, all kinds. So when somebody has taken something kind of from you, there's a sense of they owe you. There's that debtor relationship, like there's some debt there. Now, this is what forgiveness is. Anger says you owe me. Forgiveness is canceling the debt. When you cancel the debt, that is forgiveness. So, I'm going to use this in a second, but it's kind of like this. You may say, you shouldn't have done that, but I forgive them anyways. They shouldn't have said that, but I'm not going to hold it against them. They shouldn't have gone there, but I'm not going to hold them against them. So let's think about it like this. This will make it a little more simple. So let's say that Matt came up to me, and he was like, hey, man, can I borrow $5? And I was like, sure. And he's like, yeah, I'll pay you back next week. Okay, so he asked me if he could borrow $5. He said, I'll pay you back next week. So I see him next week. And he's like, and I said, hey, got my $5? And he's like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, it's okay, no problem. And you can do it. He was like, yeah, I'll do it next week. I see him the next week. Or I see him a couple days later, and I'm like, hey, you got that $5? He's like, oh, man, no, I forgot. I'll get it for you. I see him a couple days later, and he's like, oh, man, I know I don't have any money. And I'm looking at him, and he's holding a Starbucks, like a big one, okay? And I'm like, and he's got like some snack over here, and he's talking about the movie he just went to, and I'm like, that movie was $12, and you don't have $5, and suddenly you start, and now if you're a steward, this is what starts happening. How are you paying for all that stuff? You can't give me my $5 back? I can't believe you just, and it's just all this stuff starts going in your head, and then the next time you see him, you're kind of like, oh man, you're just kind of getting angry. Now, if you're a spewer, you'd probably just let him have it right there, right in front of everybody about how they're, a horrible friend and all this kind of, just spew it all over them. And if you're a steward, though, you're kind of holding on to it. In fact, here's part of the problem with stewing, by the way. Because right now I can't stand him, but then like another friend comes up to me and says, hey, can I borrow $1? You're like, what? No, what do you think I am, the bank? Okay, and because now you're mad at them because of him. Because if you hold on to anger, it just starts to spread on to other people if you just stew on anger. Now, you can stew on it, you can spew it, but here's the alternative, is to cancel the debt. Now, if I forgive him of that, it's not on my heart anymore. Now, would I like it if he came up to me someday and said, hey, dude, I forgot. I got your $5. Here you go. That'd be great. If he apologized to me, that would be nice. But I don't care either way because I've forgiven him. It'd be nice if he came it back, but I've forgiven him. That's canceling the debt. Now, that is extremely easy to talk about when we're talking about $5. Okay, that's not a big deal. But when somebody betrays your trust, or they take something of real value to you, when a parent leaves you or abuses you or treats you in a really wrong way, when you go through difficult things in your life, that's a whole different thing and a whole lot more difficult to talk about. But forgiveness, I'm going to show it to you. Forgiveness breaks the power of anger. Forgiveness breaks the hurt of anger and the pain of anger and the complications of anger. If you can forgive, it takes away the hurt and power of anger in your life. Forgiveness gets rid of it. When you forgive, anger goes away. And then, you see, you're not happy when you're angry, are you? So when you forgive, it breaks the power of that. Now, some of you may be thinking about a person, and this is not an easy talk. Last week we were talking about being happy and joyful. Yay! How to have joy in Jesus. Okay, that's great and easy, but we talk about forgiving somebody. You're like, I can't forgive that person. Do you know what they did? So I wanted to read you a story. It's a true story about a girl, and I just thought for some of you, it would help you to see that it is possible for you to let go of whatever hurt in your life. It's a little bit long, but I think it'll say something to you. They changed the name of the girl so that no one would know her real name, but anyways, it was a young girl in college, and they gave her the name Molly for this writing. Was driving home from school for a weekend break when her car died on her. Darkness had already fallen, and the gas station was nowhere in sight. So she had no alternative but to stand on the side of the road, trying to flag down help from an anonymous passerby. She started to grab her cell phone to let her parents know she'd be late, but not wanting to worry them, Molly thought she would just wait and call them when she had things figured out. So she stood by the side of the road. Finally, a truck picked her up. Two friendly men invited her to jump inside. They seemed more than happy to drive Molly to the nearest gas station so she could get some help. The truck sped away, pointing towards the lights of the next distant town. This is where our story turned sour. They never made it to town. Minutes inside the truck, their mood seemed to change. They pulled off the main interstate, headlights now beaming down a deserted road. The young woman felt her stomach go into a knot. "Where are we going?" Molly spoke as her voice began to quiver. No real answer came from the front seat, only a kind of laughter. "You'll see," muttered one of the men. The details of the story are too horrifying to share. In short, the nightmare every woman prays to elude happened on that night. Two guys forced the young college student out of their truck and raped her brutally. Laughing as they completed their actions, they piled into their truck and left her stranded, bleeding. No doubt they were sure she would bleed to death that night, lost in the dark, wooded area, never to share her story with anyone. But the college girl knew that what she had to do. She realized that to stay in the wooded area would seal her destiny. So with agonizing effort, Molly crawled back towards the main road to summon help. 2 hours later, she painstakingly inched her way back to the edge of the highway. She laid there, lifting her body to wave whenever she saw headlights coming in her direction. She knew someone would eventually stop. Finally, some headlights slowed down. Her sight was blurry, so Molly couldn't see the vehicle. She just knew it was her only ticket to survival. Someone picked her up. Then a voice she heard before said, "Guess she's a little stronger than we thought. Let's take her back to the woods and finish her off. We don't want her telling anyone what happened tonight, do we?" The truck gunned its engine and raced off again. An unimaginable horror began to unfold. In sickening irony, the same two men had spotted Molly along the side of the highway. This time they were not only determined, but they were angry. They wanted to make sure she never saw another sunrise. So once again, they abused her. By the time the truck sped away the second time, Molly had passed out. Hours passed. Her parents couldn't get her on her cell phone, so they called the police, and the state troopers found her car along the side of the highway. A desperate search began in the darkness. Around 4 a.m., Molly was found, unconscious and narrowly clinging to life, as they rushed her to the nearby care unit. 3 days later, Molly opened her eyes for the first time in the hospital. She overheard the doctor saying in hushed tones to her parents in the corner of the room, "Molly's going to need counseling. She survived the trauma of the rapes physically, but it will take years for her to be able to recover from the emotional trauma of what the men did to her." Molly shut her eyes again, but this time she prayed, "I need your help, Lord." 5 words later, she ended her prayer. 4 days later, a counselor came, struggled to find words to say to the girl. She said, "They caught the 2 men that did this to you. I know you must hate them. Anyone would. Are you ready to talk about them yet?" Molly, still struggling for strength, spoke and said, "They've caught the guys who raped me?" "Yes," the doctor answered back, "and they'll get the jail time they deserve. But for your own emotional healing, I'd like to help you deal with the feelings towards those 2 monsters. I know that sounds crazy now, but I promise you it will only be for your own well-being. Left unchecked, the bitterness and resentment will eat you alive." Molly reached out her hand to the doctor and said, "I know. You don't have to explain." "Pardon," the nervous lady responded. Silence filled the intensive care unit. The beeps of the hospital monitor seemed to echo off the walls. Then our college friend spoke again. I'm a Christian," she whispered slowly. "I know the power of forgiveness." The room froze for a moment, and the doctor had no words to respond. So slowly, the young woman shared her life-changing decision. Molly spoke. "You see," she whispered, "I let those 2 men rob me of one night in my life. I don't intend to give them another." I love her response there at the end. They're not getting another night. I'm not going to sit there and dwell on what they did. Now, when I read that, I don't know about you, but I get angry. I want to find those guys and hit them so hard their eyeballs pop out and then burn their eye sockets or something. I mean, I just want to let them have it, this anger starts to come in. But this is what she said. I don't intend to give them another night. See, when you hold on to anger, you just let that person hurt you over and over and over and over. And see, forgiveness doesn't mean they didn't do anything wrong. They certainly may have done wrong. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt, because I know it hurt. It doesn't mean it's not a big deal when you forgive, because it was a big deal. You don't forgive someone that didn't hurt you. You forgive people that hurt you. But forgiveness sets you free from the hurt. So I just want to say to you tonight, if you're hurting because of anger, don't hold on to it anymore. If somebody's hurt you, if someone's done wrong to you, you can forgive and be free of the anger and move on in the joy and peace that God has for you. We're going to pray. I'm going to pray over all of you, and then we're going to stand and sing part of a song together. And during that time, if you need to let go of some anger, I want to ask you to go find one of the people at the side of the room, pray with them, and believe with them to let go of what's hurting you. Let's pray. Father God, I pray that you'd help every person here to forgive those that have done wrong to them and to be free of that anger in their life. And we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's